Hello, welcome back to the YouTube channel of Bethel Evangelical Free Church Hanley. I'm Pastor Gervais Charmley. This is another video in the series of Pastor Charmley's country churches, and in this video we're up in Cumbria, so up north, and in the picturesque little village of Killington. I know it sounds rather sinister, but no, it's a lovely village, beautiful place, particularly here. This is early spring when I'm recording this. And behind me you can just about see there's the tower of the parish church of All Saints. All Saints didn't originate as a parish church, it originates as a private chapel for Killington Hall, which you can just see over there, the old medieval manor house. A bit closest to us is the old, or what's known as the Peel Tower, somewhat defensible. We're up here, we're just within striking distance of the Scottish border, and the Scots would come down and raid Cumbria, Killington, this area. So you've got the house and you've got the church opposite one another. The church was originally 13th, 14th century. It's built as a chapel for the big house, and the big house is, looking at it, you've got some 14th century, some 16th, 17th century, a bit of 18th century. Obviously it's still a private house, but the church is now the parish church. It was built, say, as a private chapel, but in the 1580s, 1585, the Bishop of Chester licensed it as the parish church. We're starting outside, of course, because it's a lovely day, and why not? And also you get a good idea here of the relationship between the church and the manor house. So we'll go inside now and have a look and point out some interesting features of this building. Before you go, just to say that that tower is not medieval. The tower here is 18th century, probably around about 1710. So go inside now and have a good look around. So here we are inside at Killington. The building, as you can see, doesn't really feel like a medieval chapel. It feels more like a 19th century church, and that is, of course, because it's been rebuilt over the years, altered, changed. There were a number of rebuildings in the 19th century, one in the 1820s and the final one in the 1890s, when the church received its current form, although the east window, the actual glass, is, I think, 1907, as I recall from the history. So this is the inside here at Killington. It's a very simple building, long and low. It always was long and low. After all, you've got to heat it, and in the winters here in Cumbria it can get very, very cold. Well, we'll have a look around and see what we can see. So in the Middle Ages, Killington Hall was the home of the Pickering family, a family of knights, and as befitted their status as lords of the manor, and no, lord of the manor is not a peer. A lord of the manor is someone who holds a particular, actually, lord of the manor is a particular kind of property ownership. So you'll sometimes find people are selling lordships of the manor and they claim this will make you a lord. Well, it won't. It will make you lord of the manor of, but it doesn't actually mean anything. It certainly doesn't mean any kind of noble title. But that's by the by at the moment. Anyway, the Pickerings were lords of the manor here, and as befitted their status, owners of a big, smart country house, they also had their own chapel, which of course would be used for their tenants and servants as well as for themselves, and that's how it eventually became a parish church in the 16th century. Records here only really go back as far as the 17th century for various reasons. But you can see it's a very simple building. We have old oil lamps, mostly converted to electricity, hanging from the ceiling, and again, very good idea. Rather than radically change the appearance of the building, you just change the oil lamps for electric ones, but you keep the original fittings, which is a very nice way of doing things, actually. So we move forward slowly. Here we have these are the commandment boards, or, well, here we have the Lord's Prayer and the Creed, and then there we have the commandments. Originally these would have been either side of a smaller east window, and in fact we know what that east window looked like, because most likely it's still in the church, it's just not at the east end anymore. The Victorians put a font at the back in the 1890s, and that's just a fairly bog standard plain Victorian font really, nothing to write home about. We've got up here, you can just see this frieze at the top of the walls, and that appears to be from an earlier, perhaps the 1824 or maybe 1868 restoration. I think that was 1868. But the final restoration is the one that gives us what we have today. The side windows, you can see, are fairly small and plain, and these must be original. And this is probably the original east window. It's the grandest window, really, in the entire church, and it seems a bit out of place here. So why such a big window here? Well, the probable answer is it was originally the east window, and in it we have this little piece of medieval glass. Let's zoom. There we go. And this is the crest of the Pickerings, their blue crowned lion. Now back out again. Here we have the pulpit, 1890s, big box. That's what that is. Nothing wrong with that. Here we have the Cook Memorial. This is Jane Cook, late wife of Robert Cook of Hallbeck, Gent, and daughter of the Reverend Mr. Hunter of Witherslack, who departed this life June the 25th, 1771, in the 28th year of her age, leaving issue Elizabeth Cook and John Hunter Cook, aged 6 and 3 years respectively, whom the God of all mercies bless and grant them grace to improve in the knowledge and practice of piety and virtue. Very 18th century. Here we have a couple of the Morland family of Capelthwaite, late of Natlin in this county, Esquire. There's John Morland, and then the memory of Captain Briscoe Morland, the son of Jacob and Dorothy Morland, who departed this life at sea in his passage from Bengal, March the 6th, 1804, aged 29, which suggests that he was a soldier of the British East India Company. And here we have Joseph Ward of Capelthwaite, 1707. And here we have the remains of John Morland, Esquire of Capelthwaite Hall, who died February the 14th, 1748, aged 43. And it looks like they forgot to put 48 rather in, so it's been written above. So yeah, we've got a lot of the Morlands here, appropriate given we're in a moorland area. You have here, you can see the reading desk and basically choir stalls here. One of them would be the reading desk, the other would be the choir leader's desk. There's another one of these fairly grand windows here, but it's a lot smaller than the big one down there. Here we have the memorial. I'm not sure we can get it very well on the camera, but to the Reverend, near this place lie the remains of the Reverend Joseph Goodyear, late assistant curate of Killington, who was seized with the vomiting of blood and died suddenly 15th of April 1817, aged 31 years. He was born near Knutsford in Cheshire. Awful way to go, really. We have here a harmonium, Victorian harmonium, rather nice. The east window is 1907. The embroideries either side, these date from 1988. And down here we have the older font. Yes, that's a font. I'm not sure whether it's all wood. No, the cover is wooden, but I'm not sure whether the rest of it is wooden or just plaster painted. The vestry, of course, is a bit later. I mean, we'll have a look at these lights. These are actually still the original oil lamps, so that's rather interesting. There clearly is electricity. You can see the heaters, but yes, the electric lights are actually hidden along here, so you can't see them from the direction of the door. This is the back end of the pulpit. You can see a nice flat back there, and there's a modern electric organ here next to the lectern. And at the back we have the ringing gallery in the tower. Yes, that is the tower. and that you can just see the stairs that lead up to the ringing gallery. So that is the inside here at All Saints Church, Killington, which, as I say, sounds a lot more sinister than it is, Killington. So we'll go outside next. Just before we go outside, this is the view that you have from the front door of the church. So we're standing just inside, under the tower, and you can see, you just have this nice view of the Peel Tower. See how close it was for the Pickerings to go to church on Sundays. We're just here down the north side of the church, and again, just a reminder of how close the church, how close the big house is, the old manor house is to the church. Really nice old manor house. I mean, really, as manor houses go, 1640 date on one of the gables, which, yeah, that's about right. So 17th century main block. So we'll continue around to the back of the church now. And so here we are down the back of Killington. You can probably hear the babbling of the brook. In fact, the brook seems to run either side of the church here, which of course made quite a defensive position for the old manor house, which you can see behind me. There it is, the old manor house. Obviously the east end here has been rebuilt in the 19th century with this big pointy window that doesn't really resemble the original medieval built windows of the church, as we have seen. But it's a great example, standing here, of how it's can be quite difficult sometimes to get the date of an old church, because how old is this building? Well, it's rendered. It's got this Victorian east window. How can you tell? We can only really tell by close examination, and also by asking questions of things like gravestones and windows. Those window surrounds immediately say, yes, this is a medieval building, however much it's been altered in the 19th century. And of course the 18th century, when they put that little tower on, which we can't see because it's such a little tower. So we'll carry on with a little look around the outside and conclude. The burial ground here is at the east end, because you've got this beck on the north side, and indeed a beck on the south side as well. In fact, the beck on the north side, there's a little bit of extra room, but obviously that's the gardens of the halls. A few earthworks in there. Looks like there's a medieval field system over there, which indicates where it would have been ploughed. But yes, this beck goes down here, and then you see the corner there, and there's another beck, and we'll have a look at that beck as we stroll through the graveyard here, being careful with the spring flowers. Yes, in fact, here we are. There's the point where the two meet, just at the end of this, that pointy bit down here. So this graveyard, the church is at the point. Oops, that's just got the tripod caught there. And here we are, the east end. There we are, the beck, which babbles as it flow. And there's the east end. Lovely daffodils down there, which could inspire a William Wordsworth. You see the pyramidal cap on the tower. And the vestry. The vestry is a late addition. It's Victorian, as vestries tended to be honest. Now, as we stroll up round here, the rendering is actually relatively authentic for the Middle Ages. You tend to have a building like this, it wouldn't be bare stone, partly because the stone is not going to be really, really high quality, and they weren't that rich a family. And what you have down here, you have these windows. You can just see here, there's the little one and the big one with the shaped tops, but the rest of them are very, very plain, and that little tower, it's got two bells, it looks like. That would be a ding and a dong, as they're often described. A two-bell church is a ding and a dong. And the church bells, of course, are there to summon the worshippers. So watch out. Now, there's a little bit of a squeeze round here. You can get round. Now, this window has obviously been re-sited. It would originally have been where the vestry door is on the inside. And here, no window here. And here we are out again. Here by the Peel Tower, the bench. And that's where the Garden of Remembrance is. So that's Killington Church. And again, you've got these really simple windows on this side. So All Saints, Killington. And so there we are, All Saints, Killington. As you will have noticed, it's a bit difficult to get a good exterior shot here because of the back. We're just over the bridge from the church here. I hope you find this interesting. I love these little country churches, out of the way places. This is an out of the way place. So thank you for watching, and may God bless you and keep you until the next time.